So I think, the next speaker also you will love him, because he's also an entrepreneur, like many of us here, and he's done something, uh, which probably would never cross your mind. Huh? So Dr. Shashi Baliyan, Managing Director of a company called ClearMedi Healthcare. Shashi is a British citizen of Indian origin. He qualified as a doctor from PGI Rohtak with a master's degree in hospital management from Newfield Institute of Health, Leeds, UK. He is the founder and managing director of ClearMedi Healthcare Private Limited and co-founder of Shubham Hospital Solutions Private Limited. With a proven track record of over 15 years in advising and consulting various NHS, private sector and some blue chip companies in UK. He has given strategic direction to complex oncology services in India since his inception of Clearview. Under his able leadership, ClearMedi is running 20 oncology and radiology facilities in India, bringing state-of-art cancer center to tier 2 and tier 3 cities in India. So some of you from those towns can probably talk to him. Shashi brought in concept of managed equipment services business for the first time in healthcare market in India. He successfully created more than 16 cancer centers, cancer treatment diagnostic centers in a span of less than 4 years. He set up India's first and biggest laundry and linen management plant with a total capacity of 60 tons of linen wash capacity per day. He created a joint venture with the leading linen and laundry management services provider of Italy called Servizi Italia, and has completed projects worth more than 250 crores foreign direct investment in India. So please welcome Dr. Shashi Baliyan to give his talk on laundry systems.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Desai, for inviting me over here. And thank you, IDEX, as well, for inviting me. I have a very a strange journey into this. As Dr. Desai said, laundry is one area which is usually totally neglected. And I didn't have any plans to enter into the laundry world at all. It just happened by chance or serendipity, whatever you can call it. I was doing my other business of ClearMedi, developing oncology and radiology facilities into India after moving back from UK. And while doing one of the projects in Delhi, in Hamdard Medical College, I went after a week of the inauguration of the facility, and I saw that the sheets which we had bought in just around a week back had turned yellow. And I asked my manager, what is this? And he made a very flippant comment saying in Hindi, "Sir, ye England nahi hai." And I said, okay, I agree, it is not England, but what do I expect is that whether it is Timbuktu or whether it is India or any place across the globe, the sheets should be clean. That is the bare minimum, what we can expect. I asked him that, where do we get it washed? He said, he took me around the corner in the campus, and you would not believe I could not even stand in that particular place where it was being washed. And I thought, there is something wrong. What are the other options? And he said, sir, there are no other options. Either you put up your own laundry. For me, for a small diagnostic center, to put up a laundry, it just didn't make sense. Though I've done something much bigger. And as Siddharth has done, talking about the scale. The scale is it is all about the scale. So I looked into the various options across India, and I realized that there was not a concept of industrial laundry into India at all. Abroad, if you see, whether it is US, whether it is Europe, it's a highly organized sector with companies having revenues of more than £1 billion. So that is the kind of scale which is available. I'll just take you through. And we formed this company by the name of Shubham. And what is the biggest issue in hospitals? The hospitals are supposed to safeguard and uphold the health, sanitation and hygiene. And laundry is one of the areas where it is all these parameters are totally broken on everyday basis. Because And I realized that it is not only that they don't want to do it, but also socially, it is something considered at a lowly, sector, overall. And probably that is one of the causes of the whole thing. And this is, I'm showing it was an article in an international journal that hospital linen tied to mucormycosis outbreak at a pediatric hospital in US. Just imagine what can be the state of scenario in India, where the condition of the hospital laundry, the way it is processed, is in a very, very pathetic conditions. So nobody has actually done any studies, nobody has done any, written any papers that what is the amount of hospital-acquired infection, what patients are carrying from the hospital linen, what they're actually lying on. So as far as the microbes are concerned, so there are various, the microbes can be there. There are some which I'm showing which can be there on the linen for days. There can be some which can be there on weeks, and there can be some which can be there for months on the hospital linen. Talking about the laundry scenario, this is a real hospital in Delhi I'm showing you, and believe me, in most of the hospitals and most of the outsourced service providers, so that is in fact, this is a good one. There are some even worse than the situation what is there in the country right now. Globally, as I said, that there are much more international standards which are there for the microbial testing. There are two bodies across the globe. One is called RABC, Risk Analysis Biocontamination Control in Europe, and there is one in similar body in US, which defines that for hygienically clean linen, what is the final microbial load which should be there in the linen, and there's a particular process which you need to follow. So the final microbial load needs to be obtained by doing a particular process and a certification which needs to follow, and it needs to have a less than 20 CFU per square decimeter. How do you achieve it? Is by a complete thermochemical analysis, by the mechanical action, the temperature, duration, and chemicals. And this is where a huge amount of cost cutting, whenever somebody outsources, people are not really aware of how actually it needs to be done. It's no more a dhobi wala job, it's a real scientific job which needs to be done properly. And I'll show you a small video which talks about that how it can be actually be done.
Shubhram stands for cleaner, smarter medical care. We provide holistic, high-quality linen management and...
So this plant we have in Sonipat in Haryana, just outside Delhi. This is a nearly 1 lakh square feet, which this blue wall what you see creates a, so this side of the wall is called the clean side of the plant, and the other side is called the dirty side of the plant, where there is a positive air pressure on the clean side, and there's a negative air pressure on the other side. So we practically, followed the same principle as in a CSSD, what is usually, followed. And what we noticed was that till now what was happening was that there was forget the barrier, there was just a red line, which was there on the floor saying that this is the clean side, that is the dirty side, and that's it. And the whole, linen, the environment, it was being kept in the same place. There was no concept of what is called a barrier washing, where you put the dirty linen from one side, take the clean linen from the other side, because you've already infected the rim of the machine while you're putting in the dirty linen. And if you're taking out the clean linen from the same side, so again the linen is actually infected.
Laundering services dedicated to hospitals. We guarantee infection-free linen that complies with international standards and a sophisticated system for tracking and inventory management. Shubhram is designed for hospitals. It was founded by healthcare professionals in partnership with Europe's leading integrated service provider for hospitals, Servizi Italia. Servizi Italia is the market leader in healthcare outsourcing of non-core hospital services in Italy and has international presence in Brazil, Turkey, and now in India. We provide linen by an efficient wash-hire model with...
So what we have done is that we have introduced the concept of what is called wash hire or a rental linen. So the hospital does not need to invest into their linen at all. So the entire linen is bought by our company, and we provide the linen on a daily rental basis to the hospitals.
Contingency plans in place to meet any emergency requirements. Shubhram maintains a clean chain. We follow robust systems and processes in accordance with internationally approved RABC service standards.
So RABC recommends around 18 different kinds of microbial testing. So there is a microbial testing of the clean side of the plant, there's a microbial testing of the dirty side of the plant, there's microbial testing of the trucks, microbial testing of the machines, microbial testing of the linen. So all that, there are around 18 types of microbial testing which needs to be done.
To ensure infection-free linen to hospital, for this, we maintain a functional and physical separation of clean and dirty area throughout the process of collection, washing and delivery. Every piece of linen or garment from Shubhram is embedded.
So every piece of linen has got this RFID tag into it. So what it does, that it is able to complete the, track the complete history of the linen, the number of the hospital it is associated to, the number of washes it has gone through, the last date and the time when it was actually packed and it was shipped away from the hospital, the last date and the time when it actually received into the factory. And it also helps in the counting. So there is no physical counting which you'd actually need to do. And we'll just see.
With ultra high frequency radio frequency identification device, which enables tracking of individual items. The process starts with the collection of soil linen from hospitals, which is transported to the plant, sorted and counted.
So these scanners, these white small scanners, what you see, so there are 4 scanners like this within this cage. So the trolley goes inside the cage, and within 10 seconds, it will tell that this amount of linen, these amount of various pieces are there from which this particular hospital. And the whole data then goes onto the cloud for a planning purposes.
Batch washer.
So this is what is called a continuous batch washer or a tunnel washer. So this conveyor itself has the weight sensors onto it. One of the biggest issues is that in the laundry industry, the linen actually is washed by kilos. And what I saw overall in the industry, what was happening was it was very, very difficult to every time, weigh it. So the conveyor itself has the weighing sensors onto it the moment you put it into it. And then there is practically no manual handling, which happens after that. So based upon the weight, the amount of chemical is automatically dosed into the system. Then the amount of water, what actually is needed, again based upon the weight, that is automatically dosed into the system.
Or CBW and barrier washer extractors. Customized chemicals and detergents are used at appropriate temperature for appropriate duration to achieve high quality disinfection and maintain the color and quality of the fabrics. Regular thermochemical.
This is where you can see that there is a temperature which is being recorded into all the 18 chambers of the machine. And where we struggled, that a lot of hospitals said that my cost is X and you are quoting us, this X plus, whatever that percentage is. The only reason why they were able to do it is that they were washing it in cold water or taking the linen to the rooftop. I'm talking about big corporate hospitals, I'm not small, chains. And for me, my only answer was that, look, you asked me to compete with God. It is really difficult to compete with God. So if you are washing it in cold water and taking it to the rooftop, sorry, I just can't beat you.
And microbial analysis of the linen and the water used is done for quality assurance.
So there are cameras and sensors on top of this machine. This is an indigenous solution which we found in India. that if there is any spot or the linen is torn, then it automatically takes it into a different queue altogether. Because when we are processing more than 100,000 pieces, I mean, every day, it is very, very difficult to do it manually. So there's a lot of amount of technology, which is actually used.
Hospital-grade packaging material, specially made to prevent moisture accumulation and maintain disinfection to international standards, is used for packaging the linen. Every package containing a set of number of items, verified by RFID reader.
So while it is being packed, the system knows, because every piece of linen has got RFID into it, that for this, which hospital it actually belongs to, and it's going to put a sticker and the quantity, automatically onto it. And it will also, if there is a mix, for example, a hospital A, 10 sheets of hospital, 9 sheets of hospital A and 1 sheet of hospital B, the system will not let it pack it and then say, oh, there's a mismatch and somebody needs to physically then verify it.
Is then labeled and is now ready for delivery to the hospitals.
So we are serving right now around 30 hospitals from one factory with a total capacity of around 60 tons of linen being processed every day. And we serve from Sonipat till Jaipur and then to Ludhiana. So almost a radius of almost 350 kilometers, we are serving every day. If you have any questions, then I'm here to ask. Yes, please. We have put in 100 crores. That doesn't include the cost of the linen, because the linen is also, ours. So just to give an example, when we started Fortis in Delhi, so we put in roughly around 20 crores invested in Fortis, just their linen itself.
So for your growth, you'll have to look at multiple hubs.
Yes. So we are already looking into one plant near Bombay, one in Hyderabad, one in Bangalore, and one in Chennai. So next few years, we will have around 4 to 5 more plants. We have a complete ETP plant on site. This is one of the most greenest plant I can say. We use more than 50% of the water is recirculated. We have a huge solar plant on top of our factory, where we are able to use, and in fact now we are putting up a plant in Sri Lanka where 100% of the power will be generating through the solar capacity.
The chemical effluents, the local pollution control, how do they handle it?
Yeah, so we have a complete full ETP and STP plant on the site.
Zero discharge.
Yeah, zero, yes. Yeah.
Two questions. How does it impact the hospital's financials in terms of operational financials?
As far as as I said, that if we are comparing it to they not following the complete process, then yes, it is very difficult to beat. Because if they are not giving the complete amount of steam, to the linen, I've seen in a lot of corporate hospitals even where there was no steam being given. The CSSD starts at 10 o'clock, in the morning, but the laundry starts at 6 o'clock in the morning. So 6 to 10, there is no steam available in the laundry. So you're doing it at a compromise of the infection, because if the linen is being, and not only that, but also what is called a spotting, that the hospital laundry staff will say, okay, this linen sheet looks clean, there is no blood stain on, to them that is clean. That is, immaterial that a patient of hepatitis or an HIV or whatever might have sat on it or slept on it for entire 24 hours. But to them it looks, from a naked eye it looks clean. And if those kind of cost cuttings are there, then it is difficult to beat. But if we compare process to process, I would say even apples to oranges, even then we'll come out cheaper.
No, the question I was asking is, for example, Fortis as a case study, if it is possible to share, what was their spending earlier? And by outsourcing and getting a better quality support, what kind of impact has it occurred?
Well, we were able to save, because we did an audit of their existing facilities, roughly around 30% we were able to save. And a much better a process which is there, in spite of whatever they were doing. And not only that, but it has also helped in the overall the patient satisfaction has improved quite considerably. To give you an example, like we serve Gangaram as well. So from the time we have started, touchwood, we haven't received even a single complaint from the patients as far as the linen is concerned. And this is usually a hospital administrator's biggest issue, is that linen is not clean, linen is torn. So all those issues. Earlier, Sonia Gandhi is a patron to Gangaram Hospital. So they used to have a separate set for her every time, hoping whenever she might turn up, so there will be a separate set which will be there. So now it's the same sheet which is going to a general ward, goes to Sonia Gandhi as well. So that is the kind of level, which is the improvement in the satisfaction is there.
How do you segregate body fluid infected? In the sense, visible body fluid like blood. How do you segregate at a collection center?
Yeah, within the machine we have got the first two chambers are dedicated only for that kind of a separate process which actually goes in, and then there are separate bags which are there for any infected linen as well. So there's this complete separate process which is there for washing, a different amount of chemicals and the dosing which actually goes on for that kind of a linen.
Thanks.
You cover?
So we are covering right now, as I said, roughly around 350 kilometers.
Okay. This is by
radius.
That is by road.
That is by road, yes.
Okay. And what is the per day's power which goes into this particular facility, the consumption?
I wouldn't know, being frank, the per day power, because I look after primarily the business development side of it. It's my brother, who actually, runs the day-to-day, operations.
But you said you're going to entirely switch on to solar.
Yeah. No. Next plant we are putting up in Sri Lanka. So over there we plan to go on to completely solar.
Okay.
But not in the night time. So night time we'll still have to use the power. But in the daytime we plan to go completely solar.
But the sterilization process, the heating process, whatever processes.
Whatever, yes. So in fact, as a next step, what we are planning to do is to extend this to what is called the CSSD. So in future, no hospital would need to buy any surgical tools. And this is again a very, normal concept outside in Europe and in America. So along with the linen, we provide the complete surgical tool set. So for example, you're doing a, total knee replacement, and we know exactly what is required in a total knee replacement. So all these sets and everything is provided along with the linen, and you have the complete thing available with you, again on a rental basis. So hospital does not need to invest into the surgical tool set, because there's a worth of several crores what is actually used, and a lot of time they're not actually used. They are lying over there because of either the volume is not there. So all those issues happen, and for one hospital to share with another hospital, it becomes very difficult. And also there is no complete traceability. So in India there are no laws right now, but like we have done traceability in the linen, so there is a complete traceability for the surgical equipments as well, that you need to know that for this particular surgical instrument was used on this particular patient, and keep the record for last 10 years. So all that data is there. So that's something which we'll be launching with our second plant.
Hello sir, I'm an architect by profession and very passionate about healthcare architecture. So thank you so much for doing this. This was something which was really needed, and we are very happy that somebody has come forward. I wanted to ask you, so we understand that this is very critical and you are solving the problem, but are you also trying to make government realize that this is something which should be probably added into NABH or things like that?
We have tried, and in fact recently, and I can show you, AIMS did a paper on this. The only this was a paper written by AIMS in one of the international journals, where just one department of the RP center, I mean, you have worked in AIMS, so you would know, that they will save around 72 lakh rupees, I mean, every year if they go with a solution like ours. The whole of AIMS, if goes on to something like that, they will save around 3 crore rupees every year. But working with government, you know, is not easy. We have, I mean, tried, but there were various issues which we faced. Being the only company in the India, I mean, doing it on a rental basis, they love the concept, they love everything, but we were the only company there was a tender which came in, and we were the only one. So then it went for a second, tender which I don't know when it is going to happen. So it's been already more than, 9 months when the first tender came in January. But after that, I mean, nothing has really, and also probably we are also, I mean, too busy even with the private sector. I mean, there is a huge uptake, I mean, from that. We would love to do it, but because, and in fact, it should fall exactly in part of the clean or the Swachh Bharat, I mean, campaign as well as part of it. But it's not easy. I mean, that's my experience of, working with the government.
So
Maybe I can learn something from Siddharth. You know.
So one more thing, do you think by arranging tours of stakeholders of healthcare into your factory would help people realize that how important it is?
Yes, that is,
Especially
in fact,
when social media get things very viral very easily. So something like the video that you're showing, if it is shown to a lot of people, I think that awareness would be way more than what it is now.
sure, I mean, that is what we have already been trying to do. Initially, in fact, whenever I used to talk about it before the video was there, and people used to say, you know, jab bana lo, jab dikha dena. You know, I mean, that was a kind of, I mean, concept, I mean, what they had. I said, look, I'm not even talking about price or anything. You just come and visit the facility, and then you, I mean, whatever you're going to ask, I'll give you. And then that is how we have been able to get, as I said, you know, more than 30 hospitals in a short span of, you know, less than 2 years.
Do you think the usage of disposables, like microfiber disposables, do you think it will ever disrupt this market, the linen market?
No, it is that cycle Europe and America has already gone through. So they did the amount of landfill, you know, I mean, what actually happens because of that is much more. And the touch and feel is very, very different of a disposable as compared to a 100% cotton, I mean, kind of a thing. So there was an upsurge at some point in Europe and in America where, I mean, that disposables was increasing, but it has already gone down, I mean, quite substantially now.
What is the cycle of usage of a particular linen? Like, what's the life of a linen?
Well, roughly around, I would say, 80 washes, 70 to 80 washes. Any other question?
Shashi, please be on stage.
Okay.
So let me, you know, call upon Mr. Vikas Wich, you know, Managing Director of IDEX. And Vikas was instrumental in going and meeting him in New Delhi and ensuring, you know, that Shashi comes and speaks. Thank you so much, Shashi. We have loved it.